Welcome, barber, to this video on scalp conditions and how they impact your profession. As a barber, you will often encounter clients with various scalp conditions that require special care and attention. Understanding these conditions is crucial to provide the best service and ensure the well-being of your client. Let's dive into the world of scalp conditions and how we can approach them with expertise and compassion. The first step in addressing scalp conditions is recognizing the most common ones our clients might encounter. The one you've all heard of is dandruff or seborrheic dermatitis. It is a prevalent scalp condition characterized by flaky, itchy skin. What's happening with dandruff is that there is a bacterial infection on the scalp. And what the scalp starts to do is it starts producing a lot of sebaceous oil to try and get rid of it. Because it becomes so oily on the surface, the epidermis starts throwing off skin cells. So you start overproducing skin cells. What you'll find is that the scalp and the hair are oily and large flakes of skin will come off. That's very important, and it's a special characteristic of dandruff. The flakes are much larger. Normally suggesting a specialized shampoo and regular exfoliation can help manage dandruff effectively. One of the most popular ingredients in dandruff treatment is selenium sulfide, which can be found in shampoos like Head and Shoulders or Selsun Blue. There's so many of these on the market, but selenium sulfide seems to be the gold standard in dandruff treatment. So that's something I would look for, and maybe you should look for as well if you're advising a client on dandruff. The next one is psoriasis. Now, psoriasis is an autoimmune condition which can affect the scalp, leading to red, scaly patches. It's important to be aware of psoriasis, gentle handling and avoiding harsh treatments. Some places, some barbershops offer coloring or chemical treatments. You have to be very careful going around psoriasis when you're using a chemical treatment. I would avoid getting any kind of chemical on it at all. It could be very harsh for the client. But it is important that you can see it and you know it's there and you're careful when you're going around it. Alopecia, that is a very difficult condition for both men and women to deal with. It's a condition causing hair loss and can have a profound emotional impact on your client. Compassion and sensitivity are crucial when you're working with individuals experiencing alopecia. Depending on where the alopecia is, I would recommend trying to cut in a way that there is some hair covering the alopecia. So if the client is having a very short haircut, then I would suggest to them, maybe we should keep it longer so that we have some hair to cover the alopecia. If it's alopecia on the side, another way to deal with that is to simply skin fade it. Which takes it right down to nothing, and hopefully as it blends into the top, there's no visible patches missing. As the hair grows in, it will be visible, but the client will be certainly happy for a few days if they have something on and it's going to cover, well, not cover, it's going to remove the visible signs of alopecia. But the main thing is, this scalp condition, your approach must be thoughtful and proactive. With men's hair, because it's quite short, when they come in and sit in your chair, you can almost see immediately if they have a scalp or hair condition. But it is a good idea if you have a new client to ask them if they have any problems with their hair or scalp before you start any services. And you can tailor the service accordingly. Often the problem they have is that it just doesn't style the way they want, and that's different. But they might throw up another problem that you weren't expecting. Another very common scalp condition that you'll find is an infestation of head lice. Now, this is one of my least favorite things to find. I really do not like them. It's characterized by little bugs that are on the scalp or crawling through the hair. They're very, very small and hard to see. And what I normally notice first is the egg. You can tell that it's head lice because what they do is they cement an egg to the hair shaft. One single bug can lay up to 10 eggs a day. They're cemented to the hair shaft. If you run your finger along the shaft of the hair, you see a white thing and it doesn't move. That means that it is a head lice egg. And this is a client whose hair you cannot cut. You have to explain to the client that you've detected head lice. It's a very sensitive issue. Try and keep your voice down in the shop if there's others present. Explain to them that it can be easily treated and you'd want to welcome them back for services once it's treated. But unfortunately, you can't offer any services today. And the reason for that is you can't have head lice all over the salon, in your tools, crawling around. You're going to need the client to go away and get that treated. Even when they leave the chair, you're going to have to take the gown, the chair, clean everything that they've touched. You want to do that discreetly, but also it's not a bad thing if other clients in the shop see you cleaning that, because they realize that you are taking care to make sure that the area is hygienic. These will be the most common scalp conditions that you come across in your career. And if you find anything that's very severe or more complex, it's important that you refer your client to either a dermatologist who is an expert in skin conditions or a trichologist who is an expert in hair and scalp. You know, sometimes the client looks like they have no problems whatsoever. Now, if you're going to go on and perform a chemical process, it's quite popular in the UK to have a perm with a fade. Lots of young guys are going for this. They want curly hair on the top. Now, it might look like their skin is in good condition, their scalp's in good condition, but you need to perform a patch test before you apply any products to that client, because they may have an adverse reaction to the chemical that you're using. For instance, they could have an allergy and flare up while they're in the chair. A patch test is simply putting a tiny little part of the chemical on the skin just behind the ear and asking them to come back the next day. And you can have a look at the skin to make sure that it's safe for them to have that chemical on their skin. As a barber, just remember, you play the key role in supporting your client's scalp health before anybody else. You're the person that touches that person's head and examines it and has the knowledge of what you are looking at. So if there's any recommendation to be made, it should come from you, and don't be afraid to say it, because if you don't say it, nobody else will. So keep that in mind when dealing with the scalp.